Black Friday, a wonderful time of the year where you can buy all of your favorite plugins for a pretty reduced price. My favorite time of the year for buying plugins, I can assure you. But I figured today we're going to be talking about all of my favorite plugins that I think you should check out. So how I wanted to run this video is basically with a tier system. We've got affordable, pro, and premium. Affordable doesn't necessarily mean it's like a cheap plugin. It's more that it's priced quite well and the value I find is pretty good. So it's definitely something to consider. The pro and the premium will definitely be a little bit more spenny, but at the same time, they might come with some advantage that the affordable plugin might not. So with that said, I would highly recommend you use the chapter markers below because this is probably going to be a longish video. There's a lot of plugins, a lot of categories of plugins. So if you just want to find maybe your favorite new compressor or EQ or something, just skip below. It'll be a lot easier to go through this video. And also one last thing for those of you that think I forgot about the giveaway. I didn't. I mean, I did, but at the same time, I've been thinking about it. So just remember to stay tuned to the end of the video where I'll give you all of the details where you can win a juicy free plugin at the end of the year. But with that said, let's crack on with the video. So starting off the video, Reverb. We've got in the affordable section, the Safari Pedals Dirty Dog Reverb. Plugin was starting at about $81, but now it's reduced to $55. Personally, I really like this plugin. It's a reverb with a built-in drive, and there's a drive before and a drive after the reverb. You get tone and stuff like this, but for me, it's a really unique character to add to a reverb, and it's kind of all built into one plugin, so I find I get quite some interesting results from this. I should also mention that you probably see the little tabs pop up here if I've done a video on this, so if there's a plugin I'm talking about that you don't know what it is, feel free to just check out the video, give you a little bit of an insight. But with that said, let's move on to the next plugin. In the Pro section, we've got the Soundtoys Super Plate. I used the Soundtoys little plate for ages, so when they brought out the super plate, I picked it up pretty quickly. It's a wonderful expanded version of their small plugin. This is reduced from $149 to $39, so quite a big reduction for a bunch of options on plate reverbs. They all sound really nice. You can even pick whether it's going through like a resistor or a transformer, so the reverbs even sound a little bit different. Super creative, really convenient tool. Now lastly, on the reverb list in the premium section, we've got the Universal Audio Sound City Studios. I love this plugin. Now it's been reduced from $349 to $174, so more or less half priced, still an expensive plugin and a little bit unique in how it works, as opposed to you can use it as a regular reverb if you stuck it on an auxiliary or however you want to use it. But what I really like is it's got a remic feature. So say you've got a drum kit and you put this plugin on it and you press the remic mode, then you get access to remicing your sound as if it was in the studio using a variation of different microphones at varying distances as well. So you can really get either that kind of closer, drier sound using the close mics and you pick whichever mic you want to use, or you can use one of the options of the slightly further back mics to just give you more of that actual room sound. And then it's also got like some compression, EQ, a chamber built in, which are all super powerful, very convenient tool. Would highly recommend you check it out. All right, so on to our next category, delay. Starting off in the affordable section, it's not very affordable, but I'm starting off with the PSP 609 multi-delay. It's a fascinating delay. It's got, I think, about 8 kind of delay signals put in, and then you can pick where, you know, how delayed they are, as well as filtering them all individually. Like they all have their own independent filtering and feedback, as well as a built-in reverb. I believe you have 2 variations of reverb, and then you can even pan all the delays independently. So it's a super creative delay to get some really insane, you can almost sculpt it to its own reverb if you wanted to, but that's going to be option number 1. Moving to the Pro section, I had to mention it again because it just gets too much love from me, which is the Soundtoys Echoboy delay. It's your standard Echo delay plugin. It's got loads of different emulated delays in there, so you can pick something like a Memory Man or like the Roland Tape Echo or Studio Tape Delay, all these kinds of things, as well as got built-in filtering and stuff like this. Super convenient. It's basically my go-to if I'm doing any type of like effect throws where I just need like it to have a certain flavor. Really convenient. And now last on the list in the premium section is, I'm gonna have to read this one out because it's a bunch of letters, but it's the Universal Audio AMS DMX 1580. The plugin is based on a piece of hardware by AMS, which is this DMX delay basically, but it's really cool. It's got pitch shifting, it's got modulation, it's got filtering, all of this kind of stuff on top of being like your standard delay with all your classic delay features. But the presets are insane. You can do a lot of like almost width expansion kind of things using obviously the pitch, and it almost works like a Eventide harmonizer or something like this. So really creative tool. I would strongly recommend you check it out. Also, I completely forgot to mention the prices, but basically the PSP multi-tap delay right now, that's not on a deal. It's currently still, this is before Black Friday obviously, but a lot of the companies have gone on sale maybe the week before Black Friday. So right now the PSP multi-tap delay is at $149. Hopefully it will change on Black Friday. They'll be linked all in the description, so feel free to go check them out. The Universal Audio AMS delay is $299, now down to $179, so quite a nice deal on that. But the best deal out of all of these three is the Soundtoys Echoboy, from $199 now down to $49. So I think it's pretty good. It's pretty worth it. Moving swiftly on to the next category, we've got dynamics. This is going to be a couple different, I've called it dynamics because I wanted to fit a couple styles of plugin in there, compression, gates, whatever. So starting us off in the affordable section, we've got Black Salt Audio Silencer. It's an amazing gate. This is very specific for if you're working with drums, if you find yourself recording live drum kits. This is a super convenient gate because you pick the type of drum you're working with, and it's got a wonderful bit of technology of basically gating using a combination of a gate as well as a filter. You can pick the length and all that. Super easy to use plugin, but basically this has gone down from $49 to $29, so quite the steal and really convenient. If you want to check it out, I've done a video on it. Moving on to the next plugin in the Pro section, we've got Cradle Orion. This is basically like a drum bus processor. I tried this out recently and I fell in love with it. I'm most definitely picking this up on Black Friday. I think it sounds wicked. Collaboration between Cradle and Jason Joshua, who's a fantastic mix engineer. I think it sounds wicked. It's kind of doing a lot of things in one. It's doing EQ, compression, saturation, as well as having a bunch of parallels that you can use of limiting and clipping and all this stuff. Really awesome tool. Would strongly recommend checking it out. That's gone down from $119 to $79, so it's good enough for me. And lastly, in the premium section, we've got the Undertone Audio Unfairchild. If you're not familiar with Undertone Audio, it's a company created by Eric Valentine, who is also an insane mix engineer. He and producer. He actually created a physical hardware box of a Fairchild called the Unfairchild. This is the plugin emulation of it in collaboration with Mixland, which is another company, but I don't want to get into it. But basically, fantastic Fairchild emulation plugin. I've been using it recently and it sounds insane. So that's going for $49 right now from $149. So they knocked off 100 quid, and that's pretty good for a nice Fairchild plugin. Would strongly recommend checking it out. It's nice because it's your classic Fairchild. If you've used either the Waves one or the Universal Audio one, it's a classic Fairchild, but it comes with a few extra features, some more variable attack and release controls and mix and stuff like this, but sounds insane. Check that out. Moving on, we've got Distortion. Now, I've got a couple of plugins here for you. Maybe not your initial thoughts on Distortion plugins, but these are some I use quite often and I quite like them, so I thought I'll share them with you. Starting off in the affordable section, we've got by Safari Pedals, the Cobra Fuzz. This is a wicked fuzz plugin. It sounds really cool. You've got a couple different clicks of how much fuzz you want, as well as some tone, and it sounds really nice. Mainly on guitars, I found I really like the sound of it, but I'm sure you can use it on a variety of different inputs. But Really like the sound of this, and I would strongly recommend you check it out. This has gone down from $89 to $19, so quite a steal. But moving on to the Pro section, this plugin is actually only about $10 more than the last one, but I'm talking about a Waves plugin called Berzerk. Now, I actually got this plugin for free in Black Friday a couple years back, quite a few years back actually now, but it ended up being a plugin I use on the regular quite often because it's distortion, but it can be so raucous and outrageous, and it's got this crazy kind of built-in pitch modulation thing that sounds wicked. But for me, it's like if I want any type of distortion saturation that's not kind of your everyday sound, I want something that really sounds aggressive, really is absolutely destroying the audio I'm putting into it. And it even has this Berzerk control where you turn it up, and the waveform that you're using to create the saturation adds all these harmonics and becomes super raucous. But really love this plugin. It's become the actual sound in quite a few songs, just like maybe I have an element where I put this on and crank it, and then all of a sudden it gives it this whole character of like, whoa, what is that? But yeah, really wicked plugin, would strongly recommend checking it out. That's gone down from $99 to $20, so that and the Cobra Fuzz live in the same world pretty much price wise, but both really good plugins. Would strongly recommend checking them out. For the last one, this is a bit of an interesting distortion plugin. It's distortion, but the category it lives in wouldn't necessarily be distortion. I'm talking about the Universal Audio amp collection that's just dropped. Now, bear in mind, you can't actually buy all the amps as a package unless you get them on Spark, which I guess you could get as a package. I'm talking about the Ruby, the Lion, and the Deluxe, based on a Fender, a Marshall, and a Vox amp, and they all sound insane. I've just done a review on it. I'm really loving these plugins. They've gone down from $300 to $150. It's probably like $229 to $149, or however they label it to make it look cheaper, but about that price. They sound really insane, and considering that obviously I've used them on guitar, but you could use them on anything. You could use them on drums, on a vocal. I'm sure they'll give you one hell of a personality. But even just as guitar amps, for me, I was sold. They sound so good. Really wicked plugins. Okay, now to the exciting section. EQ. Who doesn't love EQ? Starting us off in the affordable section, we've got again Safari pedals. We've got the Dragon EQ. Hella straightforward EQ plugin, 3 bands, but what I really like about this is each band has its own drive control, so you can just add drive to the top end or the low end or the mids. It's actually, the EQ itself is actually really sweet and not too aggressive, you know, just does what you need it to do, which is just a 3-band EQ. It just works really well, very clean, and the addition of the drive makes it just really convenient to use. That's gone down from $56 to $19. Super wicked. So moving on to the next plugin, we've got the Pulsar Poseidon. Really love this EQ, based on a vintage console and pretty straightforward. You've got 4 bands, low shelf, high shelf, 2 mid bands, but again, this comes with a built-in drive based on the original kind of console's drive, as well as Pulsar have their own unique drive, and a couple of transformer modes, which for me, when I put this on drums and I just used the drive and the transformers outside of using the EQ, it sounded so nice, just gave me a really lovely character and tone. And I quite like the simplicity of the lack of all the bands and stuff. It was, you know, you're kind of doing too big. You also can't control the Q of the EQ, so it's very kind of broad strokes type of EQ, which I really like. Made it, you know, you're more thinking about just creating an overall sound as opposed to like being super surgical with it. So a slightly different option for EQ, but one that I found quite convenient and one that you should probably check out. This has gone down from 99 euros to 59 euros. For the final tier, the premium tier in our EQ category, we've got the Pro-Q 3 by Fabfilter. This made it to my last Black Friday video. I just feel like it's such a commonly used tool in my arsenal that I had to, you know, let people know. If you don't already have this, I would strongly recommend you pick it up, because for all the surgical stuff, it's super convenient. It's obviously you're classic EQ. You just click in however many bands you want, and you've got shelves and all that stuff, but you've also got mid-side control, and you've got the ability to sidechain it with other Pro-Q EQs. So say I had an EQ on a kick and an EQ on a bass, I could go on the bass EQ and it would show me where the bass is clashing with the kick just through the EQs, and it makes it really easy to just visualize, you know, okay, there's a bit of masking going on here, there's a bit of masking going on there. If I pull out a little bit here and boost a little bit there, you know, you get the idea of an EQ, but it's just very convenient, works very well. This is down from £144 to £108. So here we go with one more currency in there for you, but that's what it's looking like. We're down to our last few categories of plugins. If you enjoyed this video, let us know in the comment section below. I'd love to know what your favorite plugins are. Did you think I left out anything? Let's just have a chat and see what everyone's going to be purchasing on Black Friday. Also, apologies if you're hearing me very congested and blocked up. This time of the year is an absolute no-go for my sinuses, so just is what it is, but let us know if you're the same. But moving on, we've got the fun section. This is a category where I just pick plugins that to me don't necessarily do a particular role, but they do maybe multiple things or just something out of the ordinary. So I'd like to start off this list with Aberrant Digitalis. I'm a big fan of the Aberrant plugins. They've made Sketch Cassette and Layer and all these things. Digitalis is one of these fun plugins that they have that really don't even know where to begin, really kind of messes with the fidelity of the audio you're working with. And it's got bit crushers and this crazy like picture thing you can draw in, and it reads it and plays out the audio through it in a very interesting way. Again, it's one of these wacky tools. It sounds great, fun to just throw something in it and see what it spits out. The presets are wicked. They've probably done a lot deeper diving into those presets than I do when I'm trying to fiddle with it, so the fact that I can pick a random preset and it's going to do something crazy is always wonderful. This plugin, obviously being in the affordable section, is $36, now down to $24. So more or less all their plugins are in the same price range. They're all very affordable. Would recommend checking them out in general, because for me, even Sketch Cassette is a big one I use all the time. So Digitalis, Sketch Cassette, feel free to take your pick. All wicked. Moving into the second plugin in the Pro section, we've got Effectrix by Bytes. This is a plugin I don't actually know if it's on sale. Again, right now it's not on sale, but maybe it will be by the time this video comes out. So again, check the link in the description if you want to see it. I have done a video on this plugin, super wicked. It's basically a variety of different types of effects across a step sequencer, and you pick when the effect turns on. Sounds really wicked on a variety of different things. I originally got it to use on trap hi-hats because I'd seen guys using it and having it turn on for a little bit and then go off, and it added such a unique sound to something so simple. And then I started trying it on different, you know, guitars and keys and all this, and it sounded wicked. So very fascinating tool. Again, don't know if it's actually on sale, but worth checking out nonetheless. Oh, would you look at this? It is on sale. It was 99 euros down to 69 euros. So that's pretty good. You can buy it on sale. And speaking of which, last time I did a video on this plugin, it was Effectrix 1. They've now got Effectrix 2, which is a very fancy new version of the same kind of style. So go check that out. You can see my video where I kind of run through it, but overall same concept. Super wicked plugin, but let's move on. Now we are into pitch. Last time I did the Black Friday video, the pitch plugins were quite a fair bit different. This year I'm focusing mainly on actual utility pitch tools. So starting us off in the affordable section, I've actually got two options for us. I've got Vocal Tune by Tuned Plugins, as well as Waves Tune by Waves Audio, because they're basically the same price and they do pretty much the same thing. I did do a video on the Tuned plugin Vocal Tune, and I actually compare it against Antares Auto-Tune, so you can see kind of the more affordable against the kind of more pro premium version, and it holds up, but there are some differences. You definitely get a lot more features with Auto-Tune, but it's worth checking out. Waves Tune as well, similar thing. It's an auto-tune style plugin. Maybe it comes with a few more features. Worth checking out those two. Waves Tune and Vocal Tune plugins are both going for $30, which is great. Vocal Tune was 100, now it's down to 30, and Waves Tune was 200, now down to 30. Secondary in the more pro section is Auto-Tune. You'll see the difference in price. Auto-Tune actually costs about $300, but now is going for $150. Antares isn't really a company that do sales in general or discounts, so I would cop this if you're really looking to up your game. Maybe if you're first looking to get an Auto-Tune style plugin, look at the affordable option and then work your way up. And now for the premium tier of pitch, we are looking at Melodyne. I have particularly selected Melodyne Studio, which is the full fat Melodyne, because this is about 700 euros new, now going for 650. Not a huge cut, but keep in mind they also have tiers of the plugin. So this is the full fat version, which is polyphonic. You know, you can actually change the pitch of like a piano playing chords, and you can pick individual notes to change. Or you can go for something like Melodyne Assistant, which is way more affordable and it does less, but it might be enough for what you need it. So definitely thought I would show that off, because when I'm dealing with pitch in terms of pitch correction, I'm using both Auto-Tune and Melodyne. Together, they are just a dream team. And now for the last category, utilities. This is just kind of random things that I find really convenient to have, that don't necessarily change the sound too much, except for one particular one. We'll get to that at the end. Yeah, they're just super convenient to have in my arsenal. So in the affordable section, we've actually got two plugins, and I've got Listento by Audio Movers, as well as Muse. Muse is a plugin, but it's mainly a piece of software like that you would run on the side. So Listento is basically a plugin you stick on your master bus, on just the final plugin of your session. It allows you to basically stream the audio to anyone, anywhere, which is really convenient, because it just means that, say you're working on a mix and you've got some revisions come in, but the band live abroad, you can just get everyone on a stream or on a call with the stream in the background. They can all listen to you play through the mix, and if they have any notes, you can just make them there and then as you're working on it, which is super convenient. Now Muse is same but different. Muse is actually providing numerous things. It's kind of like Listento, but also with like Zoom or Skype built in, as well as allowing you to control each other's computer if you want. So say I was working with a singer and they have their own setup at home, but they need someone to like press record and do all the comping and stuff. I can literally control her computer from my computer, which is super convenient. You can do things like I can play MIDI from my keyboard into her session and stuff like this. Very convenient. But obviously both of these are subscription based, so they are on sale. Listento is 30% off and Muse is 40% off for Black Friday, so you'll have to check which tier of the subscription you'd want to pick. But I find myself using both of them, even if it's just for 1 month at a time. You know, it's super convenient to just get on a session and make it work whichever method you choose. So yeah, both really great. Next one on the list in the pro section is Sonarworks. Maybe you've seen me mention this in my acoustics video that I just put out. I talk about doing a Sonarworks in the room. Sonarworks is basically speaker calibration. You buy the software with a microphone and you spend, 5-10 minutes basically calibrating your speakers to the room you're in, and it uses sonar technology. Super fancy. I've gone quite in depth with the process of it in that last video, so I would recommend you check it out. But for me, this is really convenient because I've been using Sonarworks for quite a while now, and I find that at least when I was working in a room that wasn't acoustically treated, it at least gave me a bit more confidence in what I was listening to. But now that I'm using it in a room that is acoustically treated, it's given me even more confidence. I feel like there's a sense of consistency in the songs I'm working on, and bass is translating on different systems. So yeah, not a very exciting plugin, but definitely want to consider. And now you can even get it as part of your universal audio world, which is super good. You can just have it running in the background, as opposed to now how I'm using it as a separate program running on my computer. But yeah, very good. Now this last plugin, I was a bit skeptical on where to put it on, because it's kind of doing a couple of things in one. It's kind of dynamics, it's kind of EQ, but I just really liked it in general, so I thought I'd put it in utilities, because it's probably just something that for me would live on like the master bus, which is Bloom by Oak Sound. Now this is, if you've ever used Soothe, Soothe is kind of using AI to intelligently duck certain frequencies that might be resonating too loud, so it kind of creates a little bit of space. Bloom is like the way wider version of this, the way more subtle version of this. So you've got 4 bands, and it kind of adjusts these bands depending on the input going into it. Again, I'm not super informed on the technology behind it, but I know it sounds really wicked. We've been using it here a little bit, and it sounds awesome. So I would definitely check that out. Bloom has gone from £165 down to 115. Sonarworks, I'm not even going to begin to tell you where the discount starts, because I went on their website and they offer like 200 different products. That's an overstatement, but they offer quite a few products, and all of them are discounted. I think it's maybe between like 25 and 40% depending on what you go to, because you can buy it with the microphone. If you know someone that has the microphone and you just need the software, you can just buy the software. You can buy headphones that are pre-tuned to their software, all this kind of stuff. So a lot of options for you to check out, but I'll definitely go check those out. And that is all the plugins we got to talk about for Black Friday. First of all, if you made it this far, thank you for sticking around, because we're going to talk about the giveaway I'm doing. So I realized I hadn't even given a date for this giveaway. I've been talking about it. Bear in mind, this is my first giveaway, so like, cut me some slack. But basically, I am giving away a copy of the Rhodes V8 plugin, which is a lovely Rhodes emulation plugin by Rhodes themselves, so you know it's pretty legit. Sounds really lovely. Did a video on it quite a while back, but I've had this plugin waiting to go for quite a while. I just wanted to build up a little bit of an audience first, so that we actually have some people to offer it to. But the giveaway is going to be happening at the end of this year. I'm looking around 25th December. I think it kind of makes it quite nice, you know, being able to give something away for free around that time. So that's around the time. If it's not then, the giveaway will end then, and I will give it away at the start of the following year, 2025, 1st January. So just stay tuned for what the results will be. But to enter the giveaway, all you got to do is subscribe to the channel, follow my Instagram, and leave a comment on this video, and like that you'll just be automatically entered. None of this invite 5 friends. You don't need to bug anyone, just bug me, basically. Saying that, I don't have loads of subscribers, so you might actually have quite a high chance of winning if you're just following all the 3 of them. But yeah, that's about it for the video of today. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, I would love to know what your favorite plugins are. Leave some comments below. Let's have a chat about what you're going to be picking up this Black Friday. I know what I'm picking up is probably going to be Cradle. So, you know, I just feel like for me, it's been a wicked plugin. So definitely going to be looking at that one, as well as maybe a couple of hard drives and stuff like this, but that's not as exciting. So yeah, let us know in the comment section below. Would love to know what you think. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. The support really helps, and thank you to anyone who's already done so. Once again, I've been Chris Vella, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Happy Black Friday.